Hey there again, folks. Welcome back to my Let's Play of Ever17, the Out of Infinity. And I do apologize for this being, 2 days? No, 2 days in a row. Yeah, Thursday was the last one I did, so... Yeah, I haven't had much time to play anything, to be honest, so... Yeah. So let's just get on with it. There were some answers in the last one. Sarah's the kid's, who said Sarah is the kid's brother? Plot twist. The kid is Sarah's the kid's sister. That's one of those angles is correct. Both of them are. But yeah, they were separated pretty early on, and either kid looks really young, or he somehow they got split up as far as time-wise. So let's keep finding out answers. Hopefully. I was moved to another facility, and after a while I was taken to a new home. My foster parents were good people. Very good to me if I didn't get out of line. But they had sold their souls too and were controlled by LeMU. I passed my time under their forgiving but ever-present eyes, not being able to search for Sara. Still, there were times when I did my best to find leads to her. I didn't even know where the research facility was, and something would always get in my way, and after a while I couldn't search anymore. I just hadn't been able to help Sara with my limited powers. But, no matter what excuses I came up with, the result was the same. I had abandoned Sara. In the isolated clinic room into which the cold moonlight shone, couldn't keep my promise. Even now, Sara was on the other side of the door. I knew that she was still waiting for me in that miserable little room, still believing in me, just as I had promised. The sense of guilt I felt overpowered me. It left me with an agonizing sense of helplessness and utter despair. There's nothing I could do. I didn't have any other choice. What else could I do? Wait, what? Yeah, okay. What else could I have done? When I opened my eyes, I was lying on a bed in the infirmary. I didn't know if someone had brought me there, or I had dragged myself unconsciously. I looked at my watch without thinking. Not much time had passed since I'd passed out. Laying on the bed, I looked up at the ceiling and thought about the events leading up to this point. The reason I had known that it was too hot inside the generator room was my infrared vision. And the moonlight coming from the inverter unit had been the same thing. In the darkness, I had mistaken the heat from the inverter as moonlight. And the shock that I felt when I met Sara made sense too. We were siblings after all. Probably, even without my memory, in the back of my mind I had known. That's why, the first time I had seen Sara, why had she grasped my thumb in the darkness? Why had she sung that lullaby at that time?
本当に知らない？そっか。そうだよね。
It seemed to me that Sara had probably noticed that we were brother and sister. So thanks for mentioning this thing. I raised myself up. Sara was still asleep in the bed next to me. I stood next to Sara's pillow and stared down at her face. My memory was still a little jumbled, but there was no mistaking that face. It was Sara. Little Sara had grown to be 16. It had to be her. I was sure it was Sara. The sister that I had made a promise to find, but then broke. I felt so guilty and ashamed I couldn't look at Sara's face. It was hard just being there. I didn't know what to say to Sara. What excuses could I make to her? No matter what I'd said to her, it would all ring hollow. I wanted to get out of there before Sara woke up. I walked toward the door.
お兄ちゃん
With her voice, my legs stopped. I didn't have the courage to turn around.
ねえ、お兄ちゃんなんだよね。
Sarah continued talking. Each of her words was like a stab in the heart.
お兄ちゃん
No! I spit out the words without thinking. You're wrong about me.
そんなはずない。お兄ちゃんでしょ。
No. I sensed that Sarah was about to get up from the bed, so I tried to
待っ
leave.
て待ってお兄ちゃん。
Her voice sounded just like when she had cried out to me when she was a child, and I froze, unable to move.
お兄ちゃんでしょ。ねえ、そうだよね。
Sarah grabbed my shoulders.
ねえ、なんで黙ってるの。こっちを向いてよ。
Sarah circled around in front of me all the time, holding my shoulders. But I couldn't bear to look Sarah in the face and turned
ね
away.
え、お兄ちゃん。なんでこっちを見てくれないの。ねえ、私を見てよ。ねえったら。
No, no, no. Sorry, that's the most unenthusiastic no ever. I shook off Sarah's hands. Sarah! Sarah threw her arms around me, hugging me tightly. Sarah's eyes stared directly at me.
どうして否定するの。お兄ちゃんでしょ。お兄ちゃんなんでしょ。
No, no,
どうして違わないよ。お兄ちゃんだよ。待ってたんだよ。ずっと待ってたんだよ。お兄ちゃんのことずっと待ってたんだよ。お兄ちゃん。
Sarah fell to the ground and I said nothing to her. I just ran out of the room. That's right, I ran away. Again, supposedly. I ran from Sarah and from my past. I squatted in a small room in the back of the warehouse. All I could do was just keep running away from Sarah and my past. I was such a coward. Overcome by the memories that had come rushing back to me, I had run away from my sister. I have to say that would be a pretty big shock. Considering just having the memories come back to him. She should have told him and let that kind of be sitting there to where when the memory came back it would be like everything would make sense, I guess. I don't know. I couldn't even accept my own weakness. I denied myself. It was less scary than acknowledging what I had done. I was such a coward. Had I known this would happen, I would have never wanted my memory back. Things were better when I didn't remember anything. Crouched there in the corner, I was paralyzed. I couldn't face Sarah, my own sister. All I could do was watch the time pass by. My memory had been completely restored apart from recent events. I knew my age, address, and phone number. Also remembered my foster mother and father. So there was just one crucial thing that I couldn't remember, because if you remembered everything, then that would be the point of playing this anymore. That was my name. What was my name? What was I called? I didn't know. You know, in Newspath, didn't he say he remembered his name too? Sarah was very conveniently at. Yeah, she didn't die in Newspath. In her good ending, you know? In the epilogue. Why was that the only thing that I couldn't remember? As long as I couldn't remember that, I felt incomplete. As if the essence of my existence were concentrated into my name. As long as I couldn't remember my name, I couldn't feel complete. That's how I felt, no matter how much else I remembered. That one point escaped me. Then I thought back about what it was that made me lose my memory. massive guilt I felt towards Sara. Wonder if that was why I had repressed my memory. There was too much about that theory that didn't make sense. Maybe, maybe he does just really look. Maybe he does just really look young. I can't talk this morning. Takeshi said he looked like. Maybe he felt really. I don't know. I thought he was like the protective older brother, but maybe that cliche is just put in half and he's the protective brother. Yeah, that might be what it is. I thought they were adding some more science fiction-y stuff. I lost my memory before meeting Sara and before the accident at LeMU. And I couldn't remember what I was doing just before then or why I had come to LeMU. It might have been that I had seen Sara at LeMU and then it had happened. But something didn't seem right about that either. I couldn't imagine why only my name and recent events would not come back to me. I'd already remembered Sara. It would make sense for me to remember everything. I wonder what kind of amnesia it might be. A sudden sound and shaking made me look up. The next instant, warning alarms started shrieking. All around me, the squeal of straining metal echoed from the structure. The shaking continued on and off. What? I ran out of the room. Water? I noticed something strange as I emerged in the corridor. Water was flowing in. I couldn't believe that water could have reached here. Yee, what is this? Did something happen? And did this water just appear of its own accord? What? The fan? Okay. Where? With those words of encouragement, Yu started running. She turned a corner, heading for the stairs and leading to an emergency corridor. What about everybody else? We dashed toward the stairs to the emergency corridor and climbed to the emergency corridor. Takeshi, Tsugumi, and Sara were already together there. What happened? Sailor, he started running ahead of everyone else. Tsugumi followed suit. Ahead of time? You pushed my back, encouraging me. I started running. You explained the situation from behind me. I followed Takeshi and Tsugumi as we sprinted the distance of the emergency stairs. We soon reached the stairs. Takeshi and Tsugumi were already climbing. Takeshi's voice rang down from above. I ran, following the sound of their footsteps. As we were trying to escape, LeMU began to shake and screech as metal clashed with metal. We just kept climbing, moving toward the top. Only the sound of everyone's labored breathing and running footsteps on stairs echoed throughout the emergency stairs. Takeshi shouted up ahead. Takeshi's voice was full of hope. Isn't that we realized it? You shouted it. Huh? I stopped and looked back. You stood on the stairs, stunned and looking downward. Takeshi and the others came down the stairs. The stairs shook violently and there was a large sound. At the same time, the lights that dimly lit the stairs went out.
みんなおだぶつだ。
I'll go. I'll go back. Everybody keep going. Without waiting for a reply, I started rushing down the stairs I just climbed.
無理よ。浸水が始まってるのよ。どうやって行くつもり？
Your voices rang out behind me.
下は真
Swim!
っ暗なのよ。
No problem. I can see heat and crap. I could actually see the different parts of the stairs by their different temperatures. It's the first time I had ever been thankful for my unusual vision. I went down the stairs and came out at Zuete Stock's emergency corridor. It looked like the emergency power had already died. I wondered where Sara might be. I thought frantically. If she had turned back part way, then she probably wouldn't have made it to Zuete Stock. But I couldn't be sure. If she had gone all the way down to Zuete Stock, then I would never make it in time if I looked around Zuete Stock first. I didn't know what to do. I had to decide whether I would start looking on Zuete Stock or from Zuete Stock. No, don't give me a choice now. No choice now. Dang it. Okay, let's review that button. If she had turned back part way, then she probably wouldn't have made it through Zuete Stock. What would be more dramatic? Because that's probably the route they're going to go for. Which one is more drama-filled? Three-day stock's the lower one, right? Which means for a longer sequence up the stairs or something. Yeah. I decided to start searching from Zuete Stock. I figured the water pressure would be higher there and the flooding more serious. If she were in Zuete Stock, then I'd have to start there to have any hope of finding her. I headed down the stairs to Zuete Stock. Reaching the emergency corridor, I arrived at Zuete Stock. If Sara were here, where would she be? Conference room or the control room? If she had been at one of the attractions, you know. When I think I'm going to die, I like to go to a carousel. You know, I like to drown holding on to fake plastic horses. In how much time? Peering down the emergency hatch, I realized that the flooding had already progressed a lot. It seemed best to check each room from the emergency corridor rather than going all the way down. I wondered if Sara really were on this floor. But having come so far, I knew there was no going back. I ran through the emergency corridor. I exited on the emergency corridor furthest outside. Opening the emergency hatch to each room, I peeked inside. If Sara were there, I'd be able to see her body heat. I looked in the conference room and the control room, but there was no sign of her there. The water only continued to rise. The doors beyond the elevator hall didn't open. I frantically ran down the emergency corridor, moving from one attraction to the next. I checked the rest area and looked down into the Lemurian ruins, but Sara wasn't there. Maybe she wasn't on this floor. The sound of the water grew louder and the shaking of the structure stronger. If I didn't hurry, I wouldn't make it back to Zuete Stock. I knew I had to hurry to the emergency stairs. I sprinted the stairs and up to Zuete Stock. It's like I failed. I had lost a lot of time. I had to hurry. Finally arrived back at Zuete Stock. Maybe that first one was like the safe answer, where you get not the bad ending. Maybe. Or you probably. I don't know. Still don't know how to play this game. Finally arrived back at Zuete Stock. LeMU was shaking terribly, and the area below the emergency hatch had already filled with water. It looked like water was about to flood into the corridor. I plunged into the water. Swimming desperately to the security office, I forgot the pain in my arm and looked inside. Sarah wasn't there. But they were still a breath using the air at the top of the room. Where could Sara be? I dove into the water again and swam for the infirmary. The infirmary door was open. I looked inside and... Sara! Sarah's body stood out white in the dark water. This room also had a pocket of air near the ceiling. Sara was just barely floating there. I floated to the surface. Sara! I swam up next to Sara.
Ni-chan?
Probably more alright if you hadn't run off. Are you okay, Sara?
大丈夫だよ。
She smiled weakly. She was spinning, unsteady on her feet.
お兄ちゃん、なんで戻ってきたの？
I came back to get you, of course. Are we almost at the end?
迎えに？
Sure, I promised, didn't I?
そっか。
You know, before I ran away for the second time, you know, when I got freaked out and stuff.
迎えに来てくれたんだね。
Oh, well, I'm so sorry, Sara. I know I made you wait such a long
う
time.
ん。いいんだよ、もう。こうして来てくれたんだもん。
Sara, why did you come back?
うん。これを取りに。
Saying that, Sara moved the fragment that was embedded in my finger.
これを
That's...
忘れてたから。
You came back for that?
だってこれはお兄ちゃんが私を守ってくれた大切な証だから。これがなくなってしまったらお兄ちゃんとの絆までなくしてしまいそうな気がしたから。
Sara? I like how their connection to physical objects, mementos, are actually more important in their own lives. Because if they died, I would think that the connection it kind of ended already, you know.
ごめんね。お兄ちゃんまで巻き込んじゃって。
Sara, it's
ご
okay.
めんなさい。
It's okay for you to come back for a piece of glass. It's alright, I only came to keep my promise.
お兄ちゃんありがとう。
I desperately tried to prop up Sara to keep her from sinking.
ごめんね。もうダメ。浮かんでいられないや。
Sara, hold
ご
on.
めんね。ごめんね、お兄ちゃん。
Sara, hang on. Fight,
な
Sara.
んだかぼーっとしてきちゃった。
Sara, I remember the air pressure here was compressed to 4.5 atmospheres because of the water pressure. Sara had probably gotten oxygen poisoning from breathing the oxygen-heavy air. That, compounded with the fatigue from treading water in the cold seawater, the combination had probably rapidly robbed Sara of her strength. Sara, hang in there. She'll hang in there too. I can talk a
お
little
兄
bit.
ちゃん頑張るね。でももう体が動かない。
I didn't know what to do. And I finally found Sara. Anyway, let's head for the emergency corridor. Before the water hadn't flooded into the emergency corridor. If you could just get there. Listen, Sara. Did you notice that when they say emergency corridor, they always follow it up by a following emergency corridor phrase? It's very weird. I grabbed the weakened Sara and tried to dive underwater. It is then that it happened. A metallic scream echoed through LeMU as a shock racked the structure. I can still talk. At the same time, the flow of the water increased dramatically. The shock shook Sara loose from my grasp. I hardly struggled to lift her up. This feels like a bad ending. It looked like she had swallowed some water. Her breathing was labored. What should I do? What could I do? With a dull groan, LeMU tilted, causing the water to ripple. Hang on, Sara, just hang on. I called to Sara as I desperately floated in the waves on the surface.
お兄ちゃん、ごめんね。ごめんね。もう、体が動かないよ。
No, Sara, hang on. We gotta find out what Coco has to do with you. We finally found each other. Sara, open your eyes, Sara.
お兄ちゃん。
Crap. Damn it. It sounds like this is the ending, so I guess this will probably go past the 30-minute mark. Great. Wait, well, she's the first one I failed at the first time, so I guess that's alright.
来てくれてありがとう。
Sara's body went limp. I swore inside my mind. Why? I wonder if there was no way that I could save Sara. I took a big breath and, holding Sara, dove underwater. I meant to get us out of LeMU. If I let us stick around, we would have been crushed. The irregular shocks continued and the sounds of metal on metal echoed harshly. LeMU was already mostly filled with water. I ducked into a crack running down the wall that was just big enough and slipped outside. There was the sprawling darkness of the ocean surrounding me. My only hope was the light piercing through the water from above. Clutching Sara, I swam toward it. But swimming with my injured arm and holding a limp Sara was nearly impossible. The water pressure constricted my chest, forcing out my air. But I kept swimming. My body was screeching for air. Screaming, same thing. My eyes clouded. Flashes of white light darted across my vision. It was no good, I couldn't see. I wasn't sure if I were heading upward or downward. My right arm, Sara, felt cold, nearly frozen. I didn't think I'd make it. My arms refused to move, and my legs. I took Sara in. I couldn't take anymore. I swallowed water. My consciousness was slipping. My body had no power. Sara. I'm sorry, Sara. I just couldn't quite seem to save Sara. Sara. Last Saras. Darkness enveloped me, stealing away my consciousness. Oh my gosh, the life rating of 1. Wow. Well. We have answers. Answers have been given to some extent. So let's, yes, save. What is this? What is this? Excuse me. So if she has an epilogue, then maybe... So that'll probably count for those two. They don't just have 2 endings left. Doesn't it go yeah, it goes faster that way. Don't have very many scenes left that, not done. A good bit. I mean, a decent amount, but not just a lot. I'm missing something from Takashi right here, too. which I'm guessing is probably that right there, number 3. So I'm gonna have to figure out what I need to do there. Maybe it's just. Ooh, wait, maybe I do know. I'm gonna try something and it may give us a 3rd ending. Not now, next time, but I fell with Tsugumi completely. And we'll talk about it next time. Alright, so yeah, hope you folks enjoyed. Despite it being a bad ending with Sara. And hey, there's a I'll go ahead and mention this since I think I'm going to do it right now. There's a lot of games on Steam right now on sale, and I got Spelunky. So I might be playing. I'm going to record just a little bit of that. The thing about that is I can do it in short bursts, and there's no story. So if I do an episode and do an episode 1 month from now, no big deal. So I have to feel like I'm leaving a story dangling if I don't ever play anymore. It's pretty fun though. So if that sounds interesting, it's a platform type game. So it looks interesting. You can watch me fail horribly at that. But yeah, I'm going to see about getting seeing if what I'm thinking is that right there. And we go for Sara again. We hope we don't fail. Hope we don't fail. Answers, at least. Answers. Okay, I'm gonna stop talking now. I just keep rambling if I don't stop talking. That's the definition of not stopping of talking. So, hope you folks did enjoy it, and I shall see you in the next one.